If you've not heard of Temu, well, you should. They're an online shopping platform which gives you access to incredible amounts of products which you can purchase and they are shipped directly to you. So when Temu got in touch and asked if I was happy to test out their products and services, I was like, why not? So I was given a budget of £200 to pick and choose what I wanted. With that, I thought it'd be a good idea to purchase items as if I was a brand new badminton player who was just looking to get started. The idea was to purchase like I had no clue about badminton instead of being an equipment expert who had already tried many of the best badminton equipment out there, and to test the products from Temu for their performance and value for money. So I came up with this list of items which included a pair of badminton shoes with similar looking board dials, some shoe deodorant, some clothing, a racket, a bunch of grips, some accessories and keychains, a variety of shuttles, a tube of feathers, as well as some plastics, and also what looks like air shuttles. I also got a racket backpack, a cute shuttlecock shaped cushion, and a tool to collect shuttles on the floor when you're training. The shuttle collecting tool was the most expensive thing on the list, but if it worked well, I was going to donate it to a junior club, so I thought it was a good idea to buy that. So in this instance, without seeing the actual product themselves, Temu's pricing looks incredibly attractive, like the pair of new shoes for just £16. With the dials, there's no chance of this happening with most shoes in the UK, much less a badminton specific pair of shoes. And delivered, of course. Obviously you guys are already aware I'm already playing with some of the best products on the market out there, such as the Yonex Dynafly 700 Pro, which costs significantly more, so it would be interesting to compare some of these entry-level products and see how they perform. I also want to note that whilst the delivery was free with my order, the final purchase product during the checkout also included any import taxes, so there are no additional surprises there. As part of this collab, there are some coupon codes for you guys if you're looking to take a look on Temu, and that's in the description below. So this massive bag has showed up, and let's check what's inside. But before I open the bag, I've also noticed this. Because the import taxes were lower than what was calculated in the checkout previously, Temu has actually refunded some of the costs there. So that's nice. Right, back to this massive bag. It looks like Temu has consolidated all the items in the order and have packed them into a single massive bag with everything before the local courier sent it to me. Generally, you'd be quite concerned if everything was squashed together, especially with a racket in the pack, but it looked like this was fine. So let me quickly categorize them and go through them one by one. First is the racket. I quite like the packaging material for the racket, although this is a very entry-level racket and was just under £25. The racket was an ALP Sport racket, Sunlong model or Dragon God here, and the good thing was it came gripped and strung, so if you're a beginner you can start playing with it straight away. Of course it doesn't feel anywhere close to a high-end racket, but in terms of performance, if you're used to any kind of mid-range to high-end rackets, you probably might feel this is too basic for you, but for the price I guess it's actually alright. I wouldn't recommend it to you if you're a serious player, but if you're just wanting to try out badminton, this could be okay. Next, with the grips, I got a bunch of over grips and also a cushion wrap. Packaging was fine on all the grips that came through. They look good and well made. The blue cushion wrap felt like just any other cushion wrap I felt before. It was actually naturally sticky to itself, so that was also a good sign. In terms of the over grips' feelings and tackiness, I felt it was okay, but it was just a touch oilier on the tackier side, but more than acceptable if you're on a budget there. Pretty good grips to be fair. And first up with these shuttlecock keychains, and it was around £2.50 for 5 of these, but unfortunately the quality isn't good compared to some of the similar ones that I've seen over the years. There were a lot of plastic left around the punch out area on the stems, and so they don't look too clean. They also don't have a sticker on the other side too, so I won't recommend these. But the other keychain I got was this badminton court keychain with a removable net which you can install on court. It was £1.21 and I loved it. There's a film on the plastic to protect it from scratches, and once you remove the film, reinsert the net on the court, and wow, it looked great. Everyone who has seen it since gave me compliments for it, so 100% recommending this one if you're looking for a small little keychain or a gift to give someone. Oh yes, the shuttlecock cushion was also super cute, and my wife said she liked it so much, so that's a win. That was about £10, and additionally on the product page I saw a review from Stefani Stoeva, which I wonder if that's a review from the actual professional player Stefani Stoeva from Bulgaria. We then go into the shoes and the shoe deodorant, and to be honest I'm quite impressed with the shoe. For £16 you get a shoe with a dial, and obviously not the BOA dial, but something that works similarly. Even the shoe protective insert fits really well, and the shoe is clean, and yes, it doesn't feel like the same materials as the high-end Yonex BOA dial shoes, but this was more than 10 times cheaper, so I guess it's not really fair to compare directly, I guess. This pair felt alright, and even the soles had the hexagonal sole styles, which were also featured on many Yonex shoes too. In terms of fit, it felt very basic, not a lot of cushioning there I must say, play, but the dials did tighten okay, but you will feel some movement when you're moving around on court. But for £16 it was pretty hard to say no to these. They won't be my first choice of shoes personally, but if you're very stretched for budget, perhaps you can give these a try. The shoe deodorants were just excellent and they were only 52p for a pack of 6. No problem recommending these. It's now time to look at the shuttles, and we start with the Air Shuttle outdoor shuttlecock. Unfortunately, they came deformed as you can see on screen, and the plastic materials weren't as good as the original Air Shuttle. I would hope that they change how they package these, as it's quite wasteful if they're already deformed before you can even play with them. Next are the plastic shuttles. They were extremely cheap for £1.58 for a tube of 6, but yeah, the packaging just wasn't adequate and the shuttles certainly did suffer during transit. The plastic shuttles themselves weren't the best, but at £1.58 for 6, including 2 colours, they're acceptable. Finally, let's take a look at the tube of feather shuttles from 361. 361 is a pretty major sports brand in China, and when I was selecting the feather shuttles, I went with them because they were a brand that's known to me. But these were just downright awful and poor. Yes, I get that shipping a tube of shuttles is expensive, but these shuttles aren't even worth the price tag of £12.75. It's just really poor and probably some of the worst shuttles I've ever come across in a very long time. They look handmade and not in a good way. Many of the stems were bent and the feathers already split. The cork doesn't feel like a cork and it feels like someone just decided to stick a solid plastic head onto the shuttle. And here's a comparison with one of the best shuttle, the Yonex tournament shuttle, and you can see just how bad these 361 branded ones really are. During testing, these shuttles were unpredictable. They would veer off their flight path like David Beckham's free kicks, and it was just weird seeing that happening. It's also the first time I've come across shuttles that don't spin when they're hit. They're designed to spin for flight stability, and these do not spin at all, hence that's why they move around. These shuttles were really poor, so avoid them at all costs. Next we have the sports clothing, which came in a nice Temu bag. This pack was for 4 clothing items: a shirt, a shorts, a compression tights, and a long sleeve body compression. Technically I'm not sure if the compression wear was for compression or for keeping warm during colder weather, but the shorts and top were nice. Thin but comfortable for badminton, so pretty acceptable there. The racket bag was an all-purpose bag, which I was able to put a pair of shoes, the tube of shuttles, as well as the racket in there, whilst also still have enough space for additional clothing, water, and any accessories that you want to put in. The bag was £22, so whilst it wasn't the best thing, it wasn't too bad either. So the last thing from this purchase was a slightly more expensive shuttle collector, which looked very industrial. I certainly have no issues with the look, but I needed it to work and work well. Firstly, there was no instructions inside the box, so it took me a few minutes just to understand what I needed to do to get everything in place. I did find some of the grub screws hanging around in the box after having come loose during shipping, but once fully assembled, it was very easy to use. Just place it onto the floor and push. It worked extremely well, especially not squashing the shuttle or rolling over them. I think the juniors will be super happy with this one here. One thing though, once you've fitted the handle, it's actually quite awkward to carry around as the handle doesn't fold or collapse down. So the best thing to do would probably be installing the handle at the location you'll be using and keeping it. In terms of pricing, this might be a little bit expensive at just under £60, but it's quite well made, so it could be worth an investment to any club or training group. All in all, Temu was great for their pricing, service, and delivery. Quality of the product will vary based on its pricing and build, but they do have a good selection for those smaller items such as grips, accessories, and keychains, but the shuttles was a no-go, both plastic and feathers. I will leave links to the items I'm happy to recommend in the description box below, as well as some coupon codes for additional discounts too. I believe there are some coupons for you too if you sign up from the link below. Till then, I'll see you in the next one.